drop today?
Yeah, but it'll really just be about everything went down.
Yeah.
No more, no less. Like, I just want you to know that this is what I want. But I don't want to, like, sweep that under the rug.
What do you mean? Like, just forget about it?
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're breaking down Love Island USA Season 8, Episode 12, and honestly, this episode left me with more questions than answers. At this point, I'm struggling to understand what story the producers are trying to tell. Some of these relationships seem so obvious, yet the show continues to push storylines that don't fully make sense. The biggest example is Corbin, Kenzie, and Caleb. Let's be honest. Corbin and Kenzie clearly still have feelings for each other. Every conversation they have, every look they exchange, and every moment they spend together shows that their connection is still very much alive. So the question becomes, why is Caleb still stuck in the middle of this situation? Caleb is trying his best to build something with Kenzie, but every step forward seems to be followed by 2 steps backward. No matter how much effort he puts in, Corbin remains the person occupying Kenzie's thoughts. It feels like Caleb is fighting a battle he was never going to win in the first place. Meanwhile, Corbin and Kenzie finally sat down for another heart-to-heart conversation. The chemistry between them was impossible to ignore. Even though they tried to act respectful toward their current couples, it was obvious they missed each other. They talked about their feelings, reflected on their connection, and once again reminded everyone why they were one of the strongest pairings in the villa before America split them up. What makes the situation even more complicated is Melanie's involvement. Corbin keeps insisting that he wants to respect his current couple and give Melanie a fair chance. However, his actions suggest his heart may still be elsewhere. If that's the case, Melanie could be setting herself up for heartbreak. Speaking of mixed messages, we need to talk about Sincere. One moment, he's telling Sol that she is his priority and that he's completely moved on. The next moment, he's pulling Melanie for a conversation and making it sound like he never truly wanted to close the door between them. Those 2 messages simply don't align. It almost feels like he's trying to keep both options available. Whether that's intentional or not, it creates confusion for everyone involved. Melanie is left wondering if there's still hope, while Sol has every reason to question how committed he really is. Now let's move on to Anaya and Casey. This relationship continues to be one of the most frustrating dynamics in the villa. Anaya feels like Casey isn't making her a priority, while Casey feels overwhelmed by the constant pressure and emotional conversations. The reality is that neither of them was the other's first choice. They eventually ended up together after other connections didn't work out. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does mean they have to work harder to build trust and security. The problem is that every time Casey tries to explore another connection or have a conversation with someone else, Anaya becomes upset. Instead of allowing things to develop naturally, the same argument keeps resurfacing. At some point, Anaya may need to stop focusing on what Casey says and start paying attention to what Casey does. Actions reveal much more than words ever will. On the other hand, Casey is still very young. While that doesn't excuse his mistakes, it helps explain why he sometimes struggles during serious conversations. He often approaches situations casually when Anaya is looking for reassurance and emotional depth. Meanwhile, one couple that appears to be thriving is Zach and Kada. Their hideaway experience was easily one of the highlights of the episode. Both of them seemed genuinely excited, comfortable, and happy with each other. Unlike some of the other couples, there doesn't appear to be a complicated triangle or unresolved feelings standing in their way. The reactions from the other islanders suggested everyone recognized just how strong their connection has become. Right now, they look like one of the safest couples in the villa. Back to Caleb. Throughout the episode, it became increasingly clear that his patience is running out. He openly admitted that he doesn't want to keep competing for someone's attention forever. He wants clarity. He wants certainty. Most importantly, he wants someone who is fully invested in getting to know him. That's a completely reasonable position to take. If Kenzie continues to remain emotionally attached to Corbin, Caleb may eventually decide that the healthiest option is to walk away and focus on someone who can give him their full attention. Then we have Melanie. Unfortunately, Melanie seems stuck in one of the most difficult positions in the villa. Her connection with Sincere appears to be fading, while her conversations with other islanders haven't created any meaningful momentum. She is searching for stability, but stability remains out of reach. Every path she explores seems to lead back to uncertainty. As the episode progressed, the atmosphere inside the villa became increasingly tense. The girls discussed their frustrations. The boys questioned their relationships. Several islanders admitted they weren't sure where they stood with their partners. That uncertainty is becoming the dominant theme of the season. By the end of the episode, 3 distinct groups had emerged. First, there are the couples who seem genuinely happy and secure, such as Zach and Kada. Second, there are the islanders trapped in complicated love triangles, including Corbin, Kenzie, and Caleb. And finally, there are those still searching for a connection strong enough to survive the next recoupling, with Melanie being the most obvious example. Overall, episode 12 felt like a turning point. Important decisions are approaching, emotions are running high, and several relationships are nearing a breaking point. If the islanders don't start making clear choices soon, the next recoupling could completely change the landscape of the villa and leave some fan favorites at serious risk of going home. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Corbin and Kenzie will find their way back to each other? Is Caleb wasting his time? And can Anaya and Casey finally move past their issues? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next Love Island USA review.